Welcome you to Game Day Final, presented to you by Mercedes-Benz. That's Daniel Jeremiah. I am Chris Rose. Exactly what we wanted, man. How much fun was that down the stretch?
Both games today, incredible football games. And for all the talk about the high-flying passing league that the NFL has become, we have two teams today, Rose. One with Hurts throwing for 128 yards. Josh Allen threw for 127.
Amazing.
But that's enough when you don't turn the football over. Today was about mistakes as much as anything else.
All right, how's your playoff bracket look?
I had Buffalo.
Okay.
I had Philadelphia.
So here we go. Next week, the early games on Fox. Third meeting between the Commanders and Eagles this season. They split the first two. Of course, Buffalo handed Kansas City its only real loss of the year. Of course, they sat all those guys in Week 18 against Denver. This will be the fourth time in the last 5 postseasons these two teams will tango. At stake a berth in Super Bowl 59. Let's take you back to the drop. I mean, this was arguably the worst game maybe Mark Andrews has ever played in his career.
I've seen the majority of his football games he's played as a professional, and to have 2 crucial drops and a costly fumble that resulted in 3 points going the other way in a 2-point game. I mean, it makes you sick to your stomach because he's been such a stalwart for this organization for his entire career. It happens, and unfortunately it was him today.
It's exactly what you wanted to see down the stretch, right? Could Lamar, who had a really rough first half with a couple of critical turnovers, could he lead Baltimore down the field after Buffalo had kicked the field goal and gone up 8? Yes, he does that. He scores with less than 2 minutes to go. It seems like they have a perfect play. It looks like we're going to get a 27-27 game, and we think Josh Allen's going to get his crack at it. It was perfect for football fans that didn't have a dog in this fight.
It was a great finish, and I think also go back to the decision by Sean McDermott to kick that field goal. If they go for that 4th down, don't get it, you don't need that 2-point conversion there if you're Baltimore in that situation. So make it an 8-point game, know they've got to score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion. Lamar Jackson had no trouble getting this ball right down the field. It was methodical, and there was no pass rush.
And you know what? I don't think we learned anything new about Lamar. But in recent playoffs, when things have gone south for him with multiple turnovers, which is something we saw in the first half, he hasn't been able to rebound. Here he got his team within 2 points of moving on to the AFC Championship game.
It was doing it all with his arm on that drive, too. I mean, just showing poise and patience. This one, you can even see him take his offhand off the ball early. He's so wide open. I'm just going to feather this ball to him, give him a nice ball right on his body. And, I mean, Mark Andrews catches that ball, I don't know, 95, 98 times out of 100. I mean, that's
99.
That is infinitely catchable for a player of his caliber.
And really, until that drive, we thought the Bills had done an outstanding job against a team that was number 3 in terms of scoring offense, number 1 in total offense. You know, the Ravens seemed to finally get their footing on this snowy day with that drive in the 3rd quarter where they handed it to Derrick Henry. And we thought maybe after that they were going to kick it into another gear. But kudos to the Buffalo defense. They didn't allow them to do that.
They got 2 stops on 2-point conversions. I mean, just huge, the way they were to buckle down. And then you look at earlier in the ballgame, Josh Allen, once they get inside there early in the ballgame, he's able to cash those in with touchdowns. So that's why when you go to training camp and you spend all that time inside the 5-yard line, repping plays, talking about execution, one season continued today because of good execution down there, and one ended because it wasn't so hot.
So over the last 6 seasons, it's been primarily 2 guys on offense, right? It's been Lamar Jackson. It's been Mark Andrews. Both of them played a hand in those critical turnovers. Lamar with overshooting a receiver there in the 1st quarter, then the huge fumble that Von Miller scooped up and set up Buffalo's first touchdown, and then Andrews catching a ball in the middle of the field and then having the ball punched away for a critical fumble that led to Buffalo's final 3 points of the game. Those are the difference makers here.
That's the difference in both games. I mean, the teams that lost today combined for 5 turnovers. The 2 teams that won were clean. This one, Lamar Jackson, just gets his offhand off the ball and just dropped it. It wasn't punched out. It's a wet, cold day. Obviously, the snow. You just got to double down on your fundamentals, keep both hands on that football. And Von Miller, I didn't know he still had that in him.
Yeah, right, at 35.
Age. Although I think when he looked in his rear view and saw Justice Hill, he knew that was coming to an end at some point in time.
You know, for me, the thing that was interesting, Bucky Brooks was in this seat last night, and we previewed the game, and I said, how great does Josh Allen have to be? And he said he has to bring his cape to work. He didn't, and they still won.
I believe he had 147 yards, right? He had 127 yards passing, he had 20 yards rushing. This was about just being able to finish drives, which they did, and take the gifts that their defense gave them. I mean, the way the Buffalo defense was able to give him opportunities with short fields, turning the football over, the Bills just cashed in. And it was, while it wasn't an explosive game, it wasn't a huge statistical game, it was a clean game. And that's what was required in this type of weather. Don't turn the ball over. That's championship football.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, certainly you thought, and I thought as well, that the Ravens were the better team coming into this one.
The more complete, the more talented.
Complete.
Yeah.
And so the turnovers are always the great equalizer in something like this.
We saw it yesterday with Detroit turning the football over. I mean, it's hard to win football games in the postseason when you don't protect it. Not only are you missing out on opportunities, but you're giving the other team a chance to have a short field and not have to march against a Ravens defense that's played so well over the last month.
You know, inevitably, people are going to look at Lamar Jackson and say, well, there he is. Now he's 1-5 in playoff games once he hits the divisional round. This is not, although he had 2 critical turnovers, this ain't on him.
He marched them right down the field, got in the end zone, and put the ball on the belly of one of his most reliable targets, and he dropped the football. And this is on the heels of the championship game against Kansas City with Zay Flowers fumbling, Nick Bolton punching that ball out as he's getting ready to go into the end zone.
Jerry Sneed, I think.
Yeah, was that who recovered it? But I remember anyways, it's not his fault. And anybody that's just going to use the black and white quarterback stat winning, and just come on, let's be smarter than that. Let's be smarter.
So that means that Josh Allen's moving on for yet another playoff date with Patrick Mahomes. 4th time in the last 5 postseasons. Josh Allen meeting the media up in Buffalo.
Obviously understanding the flow of the game there and knowing that if we got points there, whether it was 3 or 6, you know, it made it a full 1-score game where they had to go for 2. And that's why, like, on that 4th and 2, obviously we elected to kick, give us our defense a chance to go out there and play. You know, and we made a play there at the end. I'm just so proud of our guys.
How are your reaction now that you're headed to the AFC Championship game?
You know, it's what we've worked for is an opportunity to play another week. You know, we don't want our season to end on a loss, and this gives us an opportunity to keep going. But we'll enjoy this one. You know, a lot to learn from this one. Obviously, wasn't pretty, but these playoff games, man, you got to win by 1. That's all that matters.
Hey, Josh, what was it like in that locker room just now? Is it excitement, relief, looking forward?
It's a lot of everything. We're excited. A lot of pride in that locker room. I said it in my post game. You know, we don't listen to the outside noise, but everyone was saying this and that about us, and we didn't have enough talent, weren't good enough to be in these positions, and our guys just continue to work hard, and we're internally driven. We love each other, and I think you saw how much we played for each other there.
Josh, what goes in seizing the moment at that moment of time? Bernard gets the ball back. What did you tell your guys down huddle at that moment of time?
Oh, we just said we score, we win the game. And that's obviously we want to get 6 there, so we don't make it as interesting as that one. But again, it doesn't have to look pretty. You just got to get 1 more than they do.
Did the game plan, I mean, it seemed like you guys didn't throw the way you normally would throw, especially against that team with that run defense. Did something change in the way the game script went that you leaned more heavily on the run?
I think we're having success in the running game. Obviously, when your defense forces turnovers like they did tonight, it puts you in favorable position where you don't have to throw that much. And again, we just relied on our backs like we have all year. Relied on our O-line. They did a heck of a job.
Josh, what was the message all week that coach been mimicking to you guys since Wednesday?
I mean, it was fundamentals in the ball, and it's not something that hasn't changed. You know, that's something that we preach in training camp is making sure we're holding on to the football and taking the football away on defense, and that's what you saw tonight.
You know, I felt there's a lot of things that had to happen to get to this point, but it just felt like ever since you beat the Chiefs here, that it was almost like that's the game that had to decide the AFC. I mean, did you have that sense as things were going through the end of the season?
No, I don't think so. I think, again, the regular season is what the regular season is, and it doesn't matter how well you perform, when you get to the playoffs. It doesn't really matter. And we lost 30.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn, mình lại quay lại đây. Video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tô màu những sản phẩm này đây. Các bạn hãy xem thật kỹ nha. Đây là những sản phẩm mình chưa tô. Những sản phẩm mình tô màu xong thì chắc chắn nó sẽ rất chi là đẹp. Tại vì mình có hộp sáp màu này này. Đấy, son màu này của mình nó giúp mình tô màu rất là đẹp luôn. Và bây giờ các bạn cùng theo dõi mình tô màu những sản phẩm nha. Hẹn gặp lại các bạn.
Chào bạn em, bây giờ mình sẽ đi vào chi tiết tô màu như vậy.